All right, so let's get into the news. And the first news story is one that I picked because I love this movie. And it's Hot Fuzz 2 is not out of the question, says Edgar Wright. Now, he was doing this while doing the some press work for his new movie coming out called Baby Driver. And, someone asked, what would be the, what would he say about doing the possibility of a Hot Fuzz 2? And he said, I've definitely had some ideas, and me and Simon Pegg have even talked about it at points. But it's that thing of, do I want to spend 3 years of my life doing that, or do I want to, if I have the opportunity to tell a new story, would I do that? If someone said to me, if Baby Driver 2, if that kind of came up, it would be like, I have ideas. I would never say never, and you're not wrong to say that's the only thing, or that you could go do further installments. Basically, he's saying that out of the Cornetto trilogy, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and I can't think of anything else that he's done right off the top of my head. But that Hot Fuzz is the one that has the most chance of a sequel. Even something like Attack the Block, which he didn't direct. I think he just wrote part of it with his writing partner on a lot of the things, Joe Cornish. I mean, it's like you look at all those shows, and it's, Shaun of the Dead ends with the zombies basically being, integrated into society. It's just, you make sure they don't bite you or whatever. The World's End ends with oh god, it's been a while since I've seen that one. I believe the alien abduction going the opposite way, no, you take the planet. Scott Pilgrim isn't going to get a sequel because they basically did the comic book. They basically did that whole series in one movie.
Right.
And so there's not, you would have to go to Brian Lee O'Malley, and he's moved on to Snot Girl over at Image. And so, and then, Attack the Block, that's more Joe Cornish than Edgar Wright. So, Hot Fuzz 2 does seem like the logical choice. So you said before that you haven't seen, like when we're talking pre-show, you haven't seen this. Have you seen any of the movies that I mentioned?
No, but didn't he do Paul as well? Or was that?
I believe so.
I've seen Paul. I have World's End. I've just not gotten around to watching it yet. And Hot Fuzz is one of those ones that has been on my radar forever. Oh, I take that back. I have seen Shaun of the Dead. It's so I get the idea. I just question, is this article full of how they say full of sound and fury signifying nothing, because basically he's just saying, yeah, we could do that, but there's no plans. There's so I think I would, as a fan, I think I would be very tentative about getting my hopes up, because it doesn't really sound like there's a whole lot of anything behind this. But it's intriguing to look at, because from what you're saying there, the fact that the other movies in that trilogy don't really leave the story open at the end in order to do a sequel.
And honestly, they're only, for people who are going, wait, how is this a trilogy? The Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy, which, and flavors is spelled the British way with the U after the O. It's uses a lot of these same actors in a American Horror Story anthology sense. So it's got a lot of, and actually the Wikipedia article on the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy actually is really great, because it'll point out, this person is this, and all that. But no, Edgar Wright didn't do Paul. He might have wrote, or he might have wrote or produced it, but he's done, since Baby Driver, he's done, going backwards, he's done The World's End, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, a fake trailer for the Grindhouse movies, the Death Cab or whatever it was. He did a fake trailer called Don't. Hot Fuzz. He did a TV movie called Straight A. and then he did Shaun of the Dead, and before that he did the TV show Spaced. So that's the only other thing that would be left open for stuff that he's already done.
Right.
Would be a reunion of Spaced and all that.
Yeah, I have seen Scott Pilgrim. That one I have seen. So.
Yeah. And yeah, and even then, like, I mean, it's not exactly.
Yeah,
it's not something that's going to open up to a sequel.
No, unless you just took the characters and did something completely different with them. You know, it's the only. And honestly, those characters are moved on to other things. Like, I can't see Michael Cera coming back and doing Scott Pilgrim again. I can't really see.
Actually, I could see Scott Pilgrim over what's her name? Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah, Ramona Flowers.
Yeah.
Because she's
or
doing
Chris Evans. Yeah, she's doing great. He's doing good too. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Michael Cera, but out of the two, I would say maybe the one who starred in 10 Cloverfield Lane would be the one who's going a little bit better than and plus also there are talks of a new season of Arrested Development or something like that.
Yeah.
So he'd be thrown back into that.
I think there's always talk of a new season of Arrested Development.
Yeah.
So
But no, so the next story that we got is a Cowboy Bebop live action TV series is in the works. So this is the critically and commercially successful 1998 Japanese anime series, and it's set to be adapted into a live action TV show by Tomorrow Studios, a partnership between ITV Studios and Marty Adelson. So I did not read the article before going into this. I do this a lot. I just don't read the articles before we do the show because, you know, who preps for a show? But I said in the pre-show that if this is done by the Japanese, you know, like and it has a lot of the same people involved with the show that originally did it, I could see this working because there's been a lot of shows that have come out or will be coming out that have been successful. There's one that's coming out relatively soon, based on the Lupin the Third anime, but it's following more of the police chief as opposed to Lupin the Third. So, I mean, it does sound really good because, I mean, you know, ITV Studios, they do great programming. I mean, they bring us Broadchurch, for crying out loud. So, I mean, you know, they bring us blanking on the Downton Abbey. That's from ITV. So, I mean, you know, there's good programming that comes out of there. If this is the same ITV that I am thinking of. And so, had you ever watched Cowboy Bebop?
I haven't. I am not a big anime fan. And I hate to burst your bubble, but I found on japantoday.com that this is, in fact, going to be an American-made series.
That's
producer
sort of
Prison Break, Last Man Standing, Teen Wolf.
Chris Yost. Chris Yost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So that has my faith right there, because Chris Yost, Marty Adelson, he does pretty good work himself. Because like you said, you know, Last Man Standing. That's where I last heard him was on the show Last Man Standing, and so yeah, I could see this going into full-fledged production because he's all of a sudden free because, you know, Last Man Standing isn't being made anymore.
Right.
But Cowboy Bebop, I mean, it so even saying that, it's not like, okay, it's gonna suck. I think there's gonna be more criticism on it because, I mean, you look at Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell was movie remake of a anime, starred a white woman. So I could see a lot of people going, "Oh my gosh, you know, why aren't you casting Asians?" And I don't know why they sound really old, but they do in my mind. And it's like, I look at this and I'm like, okay, I just want to see what they've got set up, who's going to pick this up, to air on the TV, or is this going to be a Netflix or Hulu original or something like that? Like, I'm excited for that part. I'm still, pretty excited for this. Cowboy Bebop is actually a really good story. This is one of the first ones that I came into discovering anime with. It was this, Lupin the Third, the original Full Metal Alchemist, Big O. I mean, that stuff that aired in when Adult Swim went into anime.
Mm-hmm.
They had their Saturday night anime block. That's a lot of the stuff that I watched, with the exception of, I believe, Inuyasha. And Beats saying that you should check out the soundtrack of the show, that it is awesome. I agree. I don't remember exactly who was on the soundtrack, but I do remember the sound sticking out to me, while the soundtrack sticking out to me while I was watching it when I was younger.
Yeah, reading about the show and things like that, the description of it, it's definitely something that I would give it a shot. A lot of the problem, like the stuff that I started out watching for anime, like my daughter is big in anime, and oh crap, I can't remember the name of it. You guys might know it, but it's all each character is like a different country, and it was just the weirdest thing I could ever watch. And it's like something Axis. It'll
sounds familiar.
Yeah, it'll come to me. But that wasn't that great. And then they made me watch Akira for Geek Cinema Society when I was a guest on there, and that movie, I was so confused. And it was funny because I went after the fact and read the Wikipedia article about Akira, and after reading the article, I understood the movie a lot more. But I was like, where the hell was all this in the movie? So I might just not be of the right mindset, or it may just be that I'm going down the wrong path, watching the wrong ones. But I mean, this sounds interesting. I like the idea of galactic bounty hunters. I mean, that definitely sounds like up my alley.
No, definitely. That's where I think, if you could find where this is available to watch streaming, this is definitely one that it is easy to get into. Trigun is another one that I started watching that I really love, and also I think would be good to get into as well, because I mean, basically, Cowboy Bebop is Firefly. It's with the exception of there's no Nathan Fillion or okay, I get it. Yes, it came before it because Beat's going the other way around, winky face. To say something is, I'm going off of what he knows here.
Yeah.
I'm going off what you know Firefly. So to compare it to be like, okay, yes, it's a lot like Firefly, and all that.
The show I was trying to think of was called Hetalia Axis Powers.
Okay,
that was that anime that my daughter really liked. So
yeah, but yeah, I would definitely say check it out. I mean, it is really good, and I'm excited to see this live action TV series. If you will know it is good if it stays on my radar as I'm watching it.
Yeah,
because that is the problem with watching too much TV. Is like very quickly something would be interesting to me, but I just ain't got the time. Like there's too much.
Yep, I agree.
And the third story that we got, and you'll sense a pattern here with this, is iZombie and Veronica Mars's Diane Ruggiero-Wright, yes, said it right, is remaking Misfits for the USA. So a while ago, like a long time ago, there was rumors of Misfits, which is a UK TV series, coming to America. And at one point, one of the stars of the show was going to come over and do it. But now we have the co-creator, producer, and writer for iZombie, Diane Ruggiero-Wright, is stepping up and doing it, and this is actually going to be on the TV channel Freeform. Not gonna lie, when I first heard that, it was a weird choice because the basic premise of the show is you have 4 or 5, I think, 5 or 6 teenagers or young adults who are in the British version of juvie, or not juvie, like parole, like juvenile detention parole sort of deal.
Yeah.
And they are out picking up trash at their local community center. When lightning storm, poof, they get powers. And it's a lot raunchy in aspects because, I mean, again, it aired on Channel 4 over in the UK after 10 p.m., which means they could swear and they could have, more, adult topics. And this is also where we get, I'm blanking on his name, the actor in Game of Thrones who played Ramsay Bolton.
Right.
This is where he comes from.
Yep.
And this show is credited with giving one of the best lines ever. Going back to, we talked about this before with like American remakes, British remakes and American remakes of the other shows. This gave you the best line from the actress Lauren Cohan on here. I'm a fucking rocket scientist. In that regard, like fucking FOOKING with her accent, and I'm like, that's the best line. So it's, I guess the quick way to say it is, it's like Heroes without the writer strike.
Yeah.
And in England.
Yeah.
But no, it's so good. I am curious because of the fact that it's going to be on ABC. It's going to be on Freeform, formerly ABC Family.
Right.
So I don't know how they're going to handle some of the, overtly sexual situations that are in here. And I'm also curious as to who they get cast in this and how it's going to be. I'm curious about all this stuff, to be honest.
The Freeform thing, the thing that threw me at first was when I heard it was ABC, and I went, this isn't going to work, because network television just has pissed me off so bad in the last couple of years because they're so quick to pull shows after one season, after half a season. Like the show Powerless. Did you watch that?
Yeah, that one, the DC superhero show.
Right, yeah, where none of them had powers. They worked in research and development at Wayne Industries. It was a lighthearted, it was funny, it was just starting to get its feet under it, I think, and they pulled the plug on it. And so putting it on Freeform, I almost feel like it's going to get a chance more to develop than just, you got to hit it right out of the box and you're done.
But this is also the network that has a pretty stacked lineup, because coming out in the same time is going to be New Warriors, with the new Marvel comedy starring Squirrel Girl. This is also where you're getting Cloak and Dagger. This is where you already have established shows like Stitchers and Pretty Little Liars, which is ending real soon. And, you've got quite a bit of shows that are already, Shadowhunters that are already here and established. So it does become, okay, how are they going to set this up differently? Because I could see comparisons to Shadowhunters. The only difference being Shadowhunters seems like all the girls are skinny, like super, like rail thin model type, where Misfits, if they stay true to how like the casting in the UK version, they covered the whole spectrum. I mean, you didn't have, like, the girls had curves. It wasn't like if I turn sideways, you won't see me.
Yeah.
Sort of deal. I don't know. I'm still excited. I just think it's going to be weird for it to happen, or for where the network it's coming out on.
Well, having seen iZombie and Veronica Mars, is Diane Ruggiero-Wright the correct person for this? I mean, is she going to do it justice, do you think? Or, do we have something to worry about there?
I think she'll be fine, just because of the fact that with these shows, there a lot of it they hit on the humor with these shows.
Yes.
Now I've seen the Veronica Mars movie, haven't seen the TV show, and I've watched iZombie, and the humor in both of those is really good. It's a different kind of humor than what the original Misfits was, but at the same time, that could be okay. I mean, because I as a fan of Misfits wouldn't want to see the same show again, but with American accents and American actors. I mean, we talked about, we were looking at, and you pulled up the Wikipedia list for, the list of American television shows that are based on British TV shows. And and even skipping the reality / game shows that are in there, you look at shows like Skins or The In-Betweeners, both of which aired on Channel 4 in the UK and then was remade over here on MTV. Skins, the American version, I thought was actually pretty good. The problem is that they were on the wrong network. MTV was the wrong network, and our sensibilities are wrong for that show.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of parents saying, there's this show's showing underage kids having sex, and it's like, no, the only one that they actually show in any real risque, like, oh, here's her bare back or anything like that, was 18. And was 18 when filming the show. And like the most was like, oh, they're like a guy's groping a girl, like over the clothes and stuff like that. But like, it's like, I felt like that show was true to what it was compared to the UK. It actually toned down, because the first season of the Skins over there, you had full frontal nudity, you had all sorts of stuff that you're like, ugh. And like, it surprised you in that way. And then In-Betweeners, it seemed like it fell, like, with it being comedy, it had this weird line where they would do things that they hadn't done over in the UK, but then they would do episodes that were fully based off of the an episode from the UK, and that stuff doesn't really translate well with comedies. And this list, I mean, gosh, this list is gigantic, because I mean, let's not forget, one of the biggest shows to come to America from there, The Office.
Right.
I mean, The Office was a success here and over there. And I mean, Faulty Towers was tried over here a couple times. Hell's Kitchen was made over here. House of Cards. They've tried the IT Crowd, numerous times. I mean, I actually wouldn't consider the Little Britain one and Little Britain USA as a spin-off, because that was just more the same thing, but that's just me critiquing the
yeah, they had some really interesting ones on this list.
Yeah.
Really didn't make it very well here in the US. And we talked about is it Being Human, kind of got really panned.
And here's the thing, Being Human is one of the rare shows where the British show had, and they did a full series. They did full run telling stories on both sides. But I think the British one had more seasons than the American. And usually it's the other way around. Like The Office had 3 seasons and a Christmas special. Over in Britain. Here it was what, 10? 30? I mean, how many seasons? Like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Shameless is another one. Shameless had 3 seasons over. Actually, I think Shameless only had 2 over there in the UK. And that's where we got James McAvoy. Because that was where he, like, his first show. And here they're on season 8.
Yeah. House of Cards is another. House of Cards was 4 episodes in the original UK version, and they're on their 4th season here.
Yeah.
13 episodes a piece usually for Netflix shows. So
yeah, and The Thick of It, that's another one. It's where we got Peter Capaldi before this. They tried to do it, The Thick of It over here on ABC, but then that's where we get Veep, because it has the same Armando Iannucci and the same team of writers as The Thick of It. And let's not forget how difficult it's been to get an American Top Gear.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the big one right there. I mean, and good God, I so hope that the new one that's going to be on BBC America, the new BBC Top Gear America, is going to be good, because they've been advertising the hell out of that show. It's like, if that sucks, I'd be like, guys, you guys advertise the crap out of this. And yes, and as Beat's pointing out, we hope that Richard Hammond heals fast after that crash. And that dude, I swear, must be made of rubber, because I think he's done 2 crashes like this now, and has come across relatively unscathed.
Right. I mean, the fact that he wasn't more hurt is, nothing short of, he definitely, the look of that crash was just horrific, and you just hold your breath waiting to see what happens. And then he was able not to walk away, but to escape it in relatively, good condition considering what we just saw. So yeah, I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's going to do it though for the news. And we are going to take a quick break and let you know that there's a couple ways that you can help us out here. You can join the producers and hosts of the show and donating money to keep the lights on. Basically, this is a way for you to help us, keep the WordPress going, keep the all the domains going to where they are, so they don't go to the the blank generic landing page at GoDaddy of, hey, this thing's available. You do that one of 2 ways. You can go to Patreon and donate as little as $1 a month. I mean, that's cheap, and that's a monthly payment. Or the other thing, go to Amazon, buy stuff. We have a link on gncast.com/support, and you click through there, and then you just do your normal shopping on Amazon. You're giving us Bezos money. That is freaking awesome. So I mean, just do it. I don't mean to sound like Shia LaBeouf there, but I mean, basically, it's so easy. Why not do it?